Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show's been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Hello and welcome to the Creative Condition podcast. My name is Ben Talon. I am your host. This show, I'm the founder of the Creative Condition, a creativity coach, artist, writer and illustrator of over 18 years in the creative industry. And this is my cause in life. I want to elevate creativity in our societies, in our lives. I see great value and magic in this fundamental human condition. So I'm here to help you do that. We are now over 400 episodes. I know this is episode 297, but if you break it all down and you look at all the special episodes and the unnumbered episodes and the rest of it in between, we are now over 400, over a decade old. So if you're an OG, tip of the cap, thank you very much for sticking with the show. If you're new or you're more recent, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you hear. This is a man often talking to himself about creativity. It's not that simple, is it? I've got you guys listening. I know there's at least one of you. Some wonderful feedback on the I Am an Artist episode recently. Thank you very much for that. If you haven't heard it, I recommend it. It's about living as your inner artist, a way of life as opposed to a singular creative discipline. We can no longer operate that way. I believe that. I don't think we can box ourselves into a certain craft. Not when, as my co-host on the Do Radio I Am Not Creative series I've been recording with Danny Ellison recently, as my co-host Danny pointed out, we are in a world where we can now wake up and find out that a certain thing that we rely upon has been rendered obsolete by automation. Therefore, you have to think on your feet. You have to be operating with an understanding of self, of creativity, and of the world at large. If you can find the Venn diagram balance of that, you're in a better place. And that's what I'm here to help you do by sharing creative stories, my own experiences, observations, and of course, my many, many guest episodes. I hope you enjoyed last week's show with Micah Purnell and Harris talking about presence from their beautiful book series, Tethering Presence in New York City and London, observing our relationship with technology, what it's doing to us, the opportunities, the threats, and just creativity at large. That was a deep conversation. We got into a lot of topics and I hope you enjoyed that one. Good numbers too. So the numbers are rising steadily. So please do help me with that. Tell a friend, leave a little review or a rating. I know it takes a second and not too many people do it. I mean, when I think about the thousands of people who've listened to this show over the decade, and I think I've got, 24 reviews or something on Spotify. Come on guys, take a second. It helps a lot. And tell a friend. Word of mouth of podcasts is maybe the best marketing tool of all. Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, Illustration X. This show is brought to you by them, has been for the entirety of its existence. Take a look at their splendid glossary of illustrators and artists and live artists and fashion illustrators and you name it, and animators. They're all on there. illustrationx.com. These guys do incredible work for the creative industry, protecting intellectual property in this banditry that we're seeing at the moment with AI. Really important stuff. They always have done. They work hand in hand with the Association of Illustrators and the Society of Artists Agents, so check them out. Paradiso Institute, wonderful organization. I've been doing some coaching training with these guys recently. I spoke at their first festival in Merida in Mexico, which was a dreamlike experience. It was beautiful, surreal. Oh, it was so warm and collective, and that's what these guys are about. Head over to their brilliant website, crafted by their patron Dixon Baxi, two-time guest on this show, by the way, with the support of F37 and Silencio. It's a gorgeous website, and they want to bring back bold creative leadership in our industry because we're lacking it in this sea of sameness. And here's part of their manifesto: Be Crudo, a feeling of change churning, matter breaking down, energy stirring, telling us to shift, to move. That this way is right. Like leaves becoming dirt and mycelium in the earth, it is a feeling that is active and alive, absorbing, inspiring, guiding, organic, interconnected and generative. It turns what is raw into what is real and greater than before, something stronger, more stranger even, more authentic and connected. Your ideas, dreams, ambition, direction, vision, perspective, to act on it is to step into the rawest and most realised version of yourself. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. Before I move on to that, also like to thank the Ukrainian Institute for their bold and brave work supporting the Ukrainian creative community during this horrific time of war. You can help them do that. ui.org.ua, share some work, commission somebody, tell somebody they're awesome. A simple act through that platform is going to be pivotal in the lives of people who are suffering from immediate mortal danger. That's the reality of their situation, and yet they are finding the bravery to remain creative, true to their creativity and their artistry. We need it more than ever in those times, so support them if you can, ui.org.ua. So there you go, there's the supporters of the show. Micah, Purnell and Harris, beautiful episode. I Am an Artist, popular monologue episode, and here's another monologue episode today. I'm going to be talking to you about unfolding, about never stopping growing, because it's something that has become really important through my own personal battle with anxiety recently, through my own growth at a time of change, a midlife crisis, as I'm 43 years old now. And, you know, I've been illustrating for 18 years and I still adore the craft. I've had a really good year this year of projects, connections, collaborations, new ideas. It's been really, really cool. But it has to take on a new shape as I grow in my career. And that's why I now coach through the creative condition. I love connection. I love people. I love the emotions and the storytelling that come through that, and the purpose and the puzzle to help people make sense of their confusing creative lives as they hit burnout, as they struggle to get moving, as they lose their way, as they fear the future. All of those things, I want them to step into that vision of themselves. A lot of the themes that I mentioned through Paradiso Institute is exactly what I work with people on. I often feel far better about them than they do themselves, and that's my job as a coach, is to help them to tune into that, to step into their story, to feel it, to become the author of the life they want to live, and that's what I do. If you want to work with me directly on that, get in touch, thecreativecondition.com, or ben@bentalon.com. Drop me an email. Always love to hear from you guys. Work with a number of you listeners. I love doing it. I will continue to do it. But today I'm talking about that unfolding, because what's happened recently is all of the things that I roam into in my life that energize me, that I might second guess and not do because I'm trapped. Not trapped, that's the wrong phrase, but I'm locked into the busy schedule of the work my illustration career brings me. If I'd done that historically throughout my career, there's no way I'd be talking to you today. There's no way that some of you would have been reading The Creative Condition and Champagne and Wax Crayons and my other books, Your Mum and Stories for the Apocalypse and all that fiction work. That fiction work would never have opened the door to writing biographies. With Hector Ayuso, I can now say that I've been working with Pablo Honey, Executive Creative Director at Automatic, helping him write his book. It's been an incredible experience, a very different experience to what I had with Hector. Hector was very much creative writing. I spent 12 hours hearing his life story and I transformed that into a powerful 6,000 word story through my writing style to capture Hector's spirit. With Pablo, we sat down, and Pablo's a writer himself, so it was more a case of helping Pablo to tell his story, to ask the questions, to coax the best stories out of him, to dig deeper and ask him about the meaning of those stories, the relevance, why they matter to him, why he's telling me them. And by the end of it, Pablo then went away and wrote up all those stories, and we've got an incredible book coming up soon. It's called In Between, because Pablo feels like he's always lived his life in between. That experience only came about because I was bold enough to share my fiction stories with Hector Ayuso for a book he was putting together for the speakers of Off Festival to share with the people who came to the festival. And he loved that story so much, he came back and he said, people keep telling me to tell my story. I want to do it now. As we launched Paradiso, this was after he stepped away from Off Festival after 24 years of founding and running it. But I don't want to tell it in a traditional interview format. I love the beat of your story. Can we do that with mine? My heart lit up, my soul sang. It was the most fulfilling project I've ever worked on, along with Pablo's, which was different. That was more book coaching, which I also adored. And all of this stuff continues to shock me. Last night, I had a meeting at the local pub that I almost didn't go to because I felt stretched and overwhelmed now for a little while, because I've just been so under siege with many, many wonderful illustration projects that I'm very, very grateful to have and have been really enjoying. However, that plus parenting plus building my coaching practice. Like I said, I'm training on a new level of coaching with the Paradiso Institute guys and Marco Fan, one of the co-founders. So really, with the sum of all of that, when you add it all up, and then the little time for rest, because I got to maintain friendships up north. I was traveling up there, driving up, getting long train journeys, traveling around, making things happen. I've also got to find time to market and do my own personal creativity. That's a busy life, and I have been stretched and drained, so I almost bailed on this meeting. Now, the meeting was about another new thing. Here we go. Well done, Ben. And it was about a new workshop for Year 7 to Year 9 kids in a school. I'm going to be piloting it, and it's about reframing how they understand creativity, moving it away from being artistic. That's the genesis of all of this work that I'm doing. It's about creativity in its broadest sense. That's why when my heart sings when I come across a person writing a cool book or doing something awesome well outside of the arts, it's why I interview them. It's why I brought you Olympic gold medal winning rugby coaches. It's why I brought you chemical engineers working in renewable energy. It's why I've brought you firefighters, judokas. I've got a guy coming up who used to be a leading police detective who is now running a dance school. I've got all that coming up. I had Steph Powell Baxter, who is a dancer and choreographer on Strictly Come Dancing in the West End, talking about the power of dance, and a drama teacher on the show. I will always do that because I know that creativity resides in a much broader space. But I'm so thankful I went for that meeting because it was brilliant and we got so much covered, and I now feel very excited about going and helping the kids who, like me, might otherwise get to secondary school and have that magic of primary school drummed out of them by a tight curriculum and by personal inhibitions and trying to fit in. But if we can get to them first and reframe what they understand creativity to be and work with them on their identity and how it all fits, then I believe, and we believe as a workshop facilitator, that we will broaden their thinking. They will consider career as something different before they even get near the likes of work experience and all those things that kind of make us think of career as something big and scary and daunting and, something that our parents want us to do, as opposed to something that works for us, that illuminates us. So just as much to say that, my definition of unfolding is very much keep growing, be curious, engage with that curiosity with the world, take it out into the world in a way that is comfortable for you and a way that is uncomfortable for you. Push yourself, be uncomfortable, because that's when you grow the most. If you're an introvert, meet one person that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Tell them about something you've found that's exciting that you're interested in. I can guarantee you that serendipity will happen, maybe not necessarily directly with that person, but the way that you see the world around you, the way that you light up when you are engaging with the broader world, because that's what we have to do as creators. That's what we're doing in this world. That's our job. It's our directing work, is to shine, to illuminate others, to inspire others. I did a coaching session with Ryan Lewis, my first client, the other night. Incredible guy who designs motion. Something of an artist. He's a real difference maker in that field. Been coaching him now for nearly 2 years, maybe over 2 years. It's been awesome. And Ryan talked about the power of inspiring others, and not in an egotistical way, but by just singing about what you are into, what you're doing, what you're taking pleasure and passions from. Because when you do that, it does inspire others. It helps others to feel that they're creative too. I have a friend down the street who I met on the dog walk, who was a part of the group we met with last night in the pub, and he told me, listen to that I Am an Artist episode of this podcast. I had no idea that anyone on my street was listening to this podcast. That was a lovely lift, a lovely motivator for keeping on doing this podcast. But to know that he'd connected with that episode, and as a software engineer / developer, he had thought of himself as not being a creative person. It's preposterous. How can you work in a field with coding and tech and not have to be creative to think of different solutions to stay on your feet? It kills me that people still walk around thinking they're not creative. You can't be an able human and not be creative. It is what we do. We make, we ask why, we dig, we explore, we push further. It's part of the reason the world is, it's got its challenges, but it's also part of the reason that there might be solutions, that we have to remain optimistic. Subscribe to the Positive newsletter. I get it every Saturday morning, and it's a tonic in my week. I was sitting there in the barber's the other week with my with my son, while he's getting his hair cut, and I'm reading the Positive newsletter. The barber's for me is a lovely little escape. I plan to write a short story about it recently. We go to a little one down the road called Ali Barber the Barber. He's great. He sticks on Red Bull, bikes done up as cars, silly races where people are falling in the river and stuff. And it's nice because you just have to sit there. And I watch everyone come in and get their phones out. And I get my phone out and read the Positive News newsletter, but then I put it away and I get a book out, or I just relax and watch the silly TV that he puts on. And it's beautiful. But I was sitting there and I was reading that newsletter, and there's stories about, a newly discovered white paint that's been used in hot countries that helps to absorb water and repel heat. Fucking hell, that's a world we're living in where inventions like that are happening. So there's incredible work, and positive tipping points can happen as quick as negative tipping points. So let's get optimistic. Let's be unfolding. Let's keep growing. Let's do what you do. Don't over question it. If you're a writer but you feel like you shouldn't be drawing, fuck that. If you're an illustrator and you feel like you shouldn't be taking photographs, fuck that. Go down the local dance class, go to your Buddhist class, get out there, engage with the world, be curious, be crudo, to quote the Paradiso Institute. It's all in you, the feeling, the answers are all within. It's very Buddhist philosophy to think of it like this, but there is nothing out there that can be your salvation. You have the answers within you. Meditate, spend time with your unconscious, walk in the park, switch off, draw, doodle, write poetry, play the piano, kick a ball around, make a joke, use your humour. Be human, be crudo, get out there and live in a way that makes you excited about the life you're living, despite the challenges that we're always going to have. So I hope that makes some sense. It's a bit of a short monologue one today, but I just wanted to, that's what I'm feeling at the moment. I've just started writing on a project for an agency, been commissioned to write a book on creativity, which is just absolutely incredible. They came to me, they discovered all my work through the Creative Condition, and they wanted me to write a thought leadership piece. This is something I hadn't considered. The other week, I was working with a coaching client to help them write their talk. The first time I've done that. But again, I have a powerful understanding of narrative as somebody who has told stories for the last 20 years through visual media, through visual communication, through art, through short fiction, through pieces for Creative Review and Design Week, through my books, Champagne and Wax Crayons and the Creative Condition. I'm a storyteller. That's what everything I do moves through. So it shouldn't have come as a shock, but it did. But it happened because I was out there doing it, talking passionately, sharing it, making it happen. And you guys could do the same. So I hope this motivates you in some way. I hope this gets you moving. Make time for that emotional creativity. Always treat yourself as your most important client and make some time in your schedule. When you do that and you get your house in order, beautiful things can happen. Thank you to Illustration X. So you can find it at illustrationx.com, the Paradiso Institute, or you can find it at paradisoinstitute.org, and the brilliant Ukrainian Institute supporting the embattled Ukrainian creative community in this time of war at ui.org.ua. Thank you for listening, guys. It's always awesome to check in with you. Get me your thoughts, ben@bentalon.com. Get in touch if you want to work with me on a coaching basis. I will help to elevate your game and your creativity. We can talk about that. There's different ways to do it. The books are available, bentalonwriter.com in my shop or at thecreativecondition.com website in the shop, along with the resources, the reading list, the podcast archive, the articles, the diary entries. It's all there. This is my passion. Let's get into it. Let's be creative. Have a great week.